In 2014, a company called Theranos was valued at $9 billion. Its founder was a 30-year-old woman named Elizabeth Holmes, who had dropped out of Stanford at 19 to pursue a vision, a device that could run hundreds of medical tests from a single drop of blood. No needles, no labs, instant results. It would revolutionize healthcare. It would save lives. It would make her one of the most celebrated entrepreneurs in Silicon Valley history. There was one problem. The technology didn't work. And what you probably don't know is that Elizabeth Holmes knew it didn't work. Her top executives knew it didn't work. And for years, real patients received real medical results from a machine that was producing inaccurate data. Results that affected their healthcare decisions, their cancer screenings, their medication dosages. So, how did this happen? How does a company that doesn't work raise $700 million from sophisticated investors and operate for over a decade without being caught? Elizabeth Holmes was extraordinarily good at one thing, not blood testing, persuasion. She adopted a deep voice. She wore black turtlenecks, deliberately evoking Steve Jobs. She spoke about democratizing healthcare with the conviction of someone who genuinely believed what she was saying. And the people she surrounded herself with gave her instant credibility. Her board of directors included George Shultz, former Secretary of State, Henry Kissinger, James Mattis, Rupert Murdoch, William Perry, former Secretary of Defense. None of them had a background in medical technology. None of them had the expertise to evaluate whether the technology actually worked. But their names on the board made Theranos look legitimate. Now here's what was actually happening inside the company. Theranos had developed a device called the Edison. It was supposed to run hundreds of tests from a single drop of blood. The problem was, it couldn't. The Edison produced results that were wildly inconsistent and frequently inaccurate. Internal documents produced during legal proceedings revealed that Theranos employees had raised concerns about the accuracy of the technology repeatedly. Those concerns were dismissed or suppressed. When Theranos couldn't produce accurate results using its own device, it quietly ran most of its tests on conventional laboratory equipment, the same machines used by competitors like Quest Diagnostics. The single drop of blood was diluted and run through standard analyzers. The results were then reported as if they had come from the revolutionary Edison device. Patients had no idea. And here's what that meant in practice. A patient with cancer received an inaccurate PSA reading. A patient on blood thinners received an inaccurate INR result. A pregnant woman received inaccurate hormone levels. These weren't abstract errors. They were medical results that real doctors used to make real decisions about real patients. The Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services inspected Theranos in 2015 and found that the company's laboratory posed immediate jeopardy to patient health and safety. The person who broke this story open was a Wall Street Journal reporter named John Carreyrou. His investigation, published in October 2015, was the first serious public challenge to Theranos' claims. Theranos' response was not to address the concerns. It was to attack Carreyrou. Holmes went on television and called the journal's reporting a collection of lies. Theranos' lawyers sent threatening letters to sources. The intimidation campaign did not work. The CMS inspection confirmed what Carreyrou had found. Theranos was stripped of its laboratory certification. Holmes was banned from operating a laboratory for 2 years. In 2018, the Securities and Exchange Commission charged Holmes and former Theranos president Ramesh Balwani with fraud. In 2022, Elizabeth Holmes was convicted of 4 counts of fraud against investors. She was sentenced to 11 years in prison. But here's the part of this story that gets less attention than it should. The patients. Holmes was convicted of defrauding investors. She was not convicted of defrauding patients. The jury could not reach a verdict on those counts. Theranos processed an estimated 7 to 9 million blood tests before its laboratory was shut down. The full extent of patient harm from inaccurate results has never been comprehensively assessed. Some patients were contacted and told their results may have been inaccurate. Many were not. The investors lost money. Most of them were wealthy enough to absorb the loss. The patients received inaccurate medical information that may have affected their treatment, their diagnoses, and in some cases, their lives. Their losses are harder to quantify, and they have received significantly less attention. Elizabeth Holmes began serving her sentence in 2023. Ramesh Balwani received a longer sentence of nearly 13 years. The board members, the former Secretaries of State and Defense whose names gave Theranos its legitimacy, faced no legal consequences. George Shultz, who had recruited his own grandson Tyler to work at Theranos, and then sided with Holmes when Tyler raised concerns about the technology, died in 2021. He was never charged with anything. $700 million raised, 9 million tests processed, patients harmed. And the people whose names made it all possible walked away.